Carrying a concealed firearm is now a popular idea in Missouri.
But before anyone can do so legally, they must take a conceal and carry class. The teacher is required to go over all the Missouri laws that deal with carrying a firearm. One statute that jumps out is a law that talks about carrying a firearm on private property. It appears to contradict itself. So KRCG's Lucas Bond sat down with a number of officials to find out exactly what the law means.
The statutes list 17 places and circumstances where concealing carriers are not allowed to carry their firearm. One place in particular is private property.
Businesses certainly have a right to decide whether they want you there armed or whether they don't want you there armed. And if they don't want you there, then they should post it, and then they have to post it within the statutory parameters.
The statutes say a sign like this on private property is supposed to stop all concealing carriers from entering with their firearm. But do people have to abide by it?
You go to a business, just a local business owned by a local business owner, and they have the appropriate signage posted on the door indicating that they do not permit concealed carry firearms to be brought onto the premises, right? Under those circumstances, what happens if you bring your firearm concealed into the premises? And the answer is probably nothing.
If the owner notices your concealed firearm, what happens then?
If the owner sees that you've brought a concealed carry firearm onto the premises, the fallback language on the statute is that any violation of one of those 17 places or circumstances under which you're not permitted to carry is not a criminal act.
Cole and Sheriff White say if an owner notices you have a firearm, the only thing they can do is ask you to leave.
If you refuse to leave, then the charge is trespassing. But if they wait until the officer gets there and the law enforcement officer asks them to share with the individual that they don't want them on the property armed, so they ask them to leave and that person chooses to leave, then there's no harm, no foul in this.
So I asked someone who teaches a conceal and carry class if he tells the students about this issue.
Every student gets a copy of the statutes, and I go through all 17 places where you cannot carry, and when I tell them this, I say, now you're going to learn the places you can't carry. When I get done teaching that part, I'm going to tell you why you can carry there.
Francis believes the statutes contradict themselves. It says it's against the law to conceal and carry a firearm on private property, but at the end of the statutes it says it's not a criminal action to conceal and carry on private property. Attorney Jason Call doesn't say whether he agrees or disagrees with the conceal and carry teacher.
The statute is not meant to be a cure-all necessarily, but if you want my opinion on what it's trying to do, I think that it's trying to discourage the carrying of a firearm at certain locations without telling people you can't do it and without criminalizing the offense.
One thing all three people I spoke with agreed on is that you are not allowed to carry a firearm in any federal buildings, schools, colleges, amusement parks, or somewhere that has high security. In Jefferson City, Lucas Bond, KRCG News.
In Missouri, you must be 23 years old to get a conceal and carry permit. For a closer look at all conceal and carry laws in Missouri, you can head to